Civilization starts over. Let's get into it. This is season 2, episode 20. And we can get right into it. So, if you don't recognize this map, go watch, last episode, or the episode before that, or the episode before that, or the episode before that, or the episode before that. So just watch episode 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24 before this episode. If you haven't seen them already. So, bye. And now, well, those people are gone. Let's get into episode 25 of the series. Basically, the aftermath of World War Zero. If you remember World War Zero, towards the end of the war, when Judea was being absolutely demolished by Mesopotamia, Persia, and a bunch of other nations, these two left their alliance, which was the Diamond Alliance, and, well, yeah. And basically, they left the war and unified into one singular nation in order to survive. And because they leave the war, both of them gained a bunch of land. But now, that unification didn't get carried over into the peace treaty of World War Zero because it happened during the war. But now that unification is going to carry over as Orange Anatolia and Grey Anatolia unite. The pact is complete, the union is here, Anatolia is united. Yeah. And, you, Green Team, I think you might worry, considering, there's a pretty large power to yourself now, so, I'd worry about that. But let's talk about the Diamond Alliance now. As the Diamond Alliance is officially disbanded, as these are the only two nations in it. Oh, okay. If the nations are going to decide to join the new Anatolian Diamond Alliance, or basically the same thing as before. One of those nations is going to be Bulgaria, the next nation is going to be Ukraine, and the next will be Caucasia. And if you notice the pattern, all of these nations kind of border the Green Team. Yeah, I'd be worried if I were you, Green Team. Who knows if you'll get obliterated off the map anytime soon. Yeah. Going down south, we're going to be seeing Mesopotamia decide to join the Indians alliance. In the past, Mesopotamia used to have India in their alliance, but now Mesopotamia is joining India's alliance. Yeah. Over here to Egypt, we're going to be seeing this nation in Oman and the Somali nation both join Egypt's alliance, which is interesting. And I think I want to change the shape to this to something a bit better, in my opinion. Decided to change the shape to a triangle. Let me say, this is not a different alliance. This is the same alliance as the Hexagon Alliance. But I just changed the shape to make it a bit better on the map, which, is a thing. But I'll still be keeping the 6-point star for this one, as it's kind of iconic. Now, yeah. But also, you will be deciding to join this tiny nation here will be joining the Triangle Alliance. And so will this nation in Spain, and so will this one. Basically, the Spanish nation and Portugal. Yeah. So, yeah. But, what should we do now? Let's go down. Yeah, there's a lot of alliances happening. I think we should go down to Oceania. As Oceania is having some nations or people finally popping up here. People are going to be popping up in New Zealand, specifically down in the south over here. Well, they will be able to quickly go ahead and explore the entirety of the southern New Zealand island pretty quickly. And it's a pretty, habitable island. And eventually some explorers will go ahead and eventually will be able to, sort of expand more. And we'll be able to discover the entirety of the southern New Zealand island over here. Yeah. And if you feel like that was kind of quick, expansion or discovery of New Zealand, this is because all of this has just been happening throughout this whole, age of religious stuff. Yeah. Yeah. But also humans will be popping up in Australia over here. I think this is going to be the first group of humans that pops up here in southern Australia. And eventually these humans will go ahead and explore greatly. Eventually eventually we'll be able to discover the entirety of this little southern bit thingy here, like this. Yeah. And well, they'll also be going ahead and working to explore around them, specifically along the coastline, as they make their discoveries go up here. Yeah. Going down to South Africa now, we're going to be seeing humans pop up in South Africa. As they go ahead and quickly, do that. Go ahead and expand. And eventually they will go ahead and discover some more large parts of South America. Over here, yeah. Going over here, we are also going to be seeing some humans pop up in Uruguay. Specifically, like right here in the southern parts of Uruguay towards Argentina, humans will be popping up and looking something like this. Yeah. We'd actually have rivers on for this. That'll be pretty useful. And these humans will go around these rivers, eventually discovering this one. And we're going to update on these guys a little later. And now let's go up to Venezuela, South Colombia. As some humans will be popping up over here as well, specifically around this little bay area. And eventually, well, these humans are going to be pretty, new to this world and, wanting to, they're curious. So they would make expansions and explorations like that. Yeah. Down or up here to Mexico, these exploration groups, we're going to be seeing mass exploration of Central America take place, as these Mexican nations will be able to discover all this part of Central America, and are getting pretty close to discovering parts of South America here. And for Yucatan, Yukon, yeah, they would be lucky, and we'll be able to make an accidental landing on Cuba, and discover Cuba. Yeah, this is a very big discovery, right? But they won't do much there for now. Going to these Californian groups here, we're going to be seeing them explore a lot more around this little coastline area here. As they go ahead and explore this, and even the Southern Californian group, which explores the entirety of this little panhandle area thing over here. And, well, Mexican groups are also going to explore, being curious in what may be up, in the north, and who knows what could actually possibly be up there. Yeah. And eventually these Mexican groups will be discovering up to here, focus on this coastline, and eventually the Californian and Mexican groups over here will be discovering each other. But then word comes out over in Mexico that there might be some more habitable land up here in Texas. So some people are going to dare to make a journey upwards in order to test this theory if it's true. They pass the Rio Grande and will be going ahead and going up, and eventually we'll be able to discover/explore all this little Texas area here. And many people think they know that the theory is true now. This area is more habitable than down in Mexico, so they will be forming a nation. And group of settlers will be popping up over here in Texas. These are Mexican, settlers here. And they're hoping to continue to expand their little cell area thing over here. And hope to expand into more parts of what they know North America. And who may possibly be out there. As you can see, there's a lot out here. Let's go down to New Zealand now. The civilization is here. As the New Zealand civilization is going to be able to form and claim all this land. They claim it. The actual colony so far looks something kind of like this. So they just claim a bunch of this. But eventually over time, some of the explorers did go ahead and use some parts of southern New Zealand. Yeah. Going over to Australia, we're going to be seeing these Australian humans go ahead and explore more, mainly being prevented or just aren't daring enough to cross these rivers to the entirety, but we'll be able to explore more up north. And eventually these humans are going to decide to form their own civilization, which is going to form with this little color here. And so far, the civilization is going to be looking something like this. Yeah. civilization form, as this thing will quickly be able to like go ahead and expand. And because of this little river here, which the capital is going to be on it, I'll update those capitals later. But going over here, we are going into South America, where we're going to be seeing this little Chinese exploration group from a while back finally form a nation in Peru, as they will be going ahead and making a pretty large expansion and thing over here. And this has been happening throughout the past few episodes, so yeah. Let's go back to Africa now. Nigeria. Yeah. We're going to be seeing Nigeria continue expanding, specifically along these coastlines. They aren't a strong power, but they are pretty. They have a lot of people. They just can't trade with anybody because they don't know of any other civilizations. So quickly, these people are going to want to explore a lot to see if they can find more of their species, because they find ancient artifacts of humans that once existed in Nigeria long before Nigeria, this nation thing wasn't existing. It appears to be from thousands of years ago or something. It's not like an apocalypse happened that we started the entirety of humanity building this entire world out of 20 bunkers. Nothing like that happened, right? Yeah. And how are these Nigerians able to expand so much? Explore. They over time built a pretty large nation, and that nation so far will look something like this. Yeah. And let's go up to North Africa now. Actually, no, let's go here. As we're going to be seeing more Somali explorers continue to go ahead and explore greatly, as over time they've been exploring a lot of this area in Africa and having a huge focus on these waterways and these rivers. Well, you will be able to go ahead and start exploring some areas of the Congo, which is a lot of territory to explore. And as I've been saying, these territories haven't been explored all at once. They've been explored throughout the past few episodes, and I just haven't been able to update these maps because of Europe. Yeah. Yeah. And also these people will be going ahead and exploring huge chunks of Tanzania, and their explorations eventually will be looking something like this. Yeah, pretty large explorations have been happening over time in this area. Yeah. And even more have been happening in northern Africa, as the Algerians have been having a huge focus over here on the Moroccan coastline, hoping to discover a lot more new lands that could be down here. Yeah, maybe they could discover Nigeria. Who knows? But over time, because of that, they've been able to, explore these islands, which is pretty big, and even have been able to discover this little island right here. Yeah. But also because, this happening, they've also been going crazy at, exploring a bunch of the Sahara area around them, as they roughly know what a huge part of the Sahara looks like now. And, they just are going crazy at exploring, hoping to discover some, lush areas that might be here. Because, they're kind of in giant deserts. Yeah, it's not very good to be in a giant desert. So they're exploring, hoping to find some climate, like in Germany, for example. Egypt wants German climate. Yeah, it's a thing to say. But Algeria, naturally exploring all this territory, is going to go ahead and claim it for themselves. Specifically down here in Morocco, they've been explored this territory for a while, but haven't claimed it. But now they're gonna claim it, and their little empire expansionist quest thingy now will be looking something like this. Yeah. And maybe I could just fix some stuff over here real quick that may look a bit ugly if I don't. And there. And this is what the Algerians look like now. And also, this little nation here is also going to expand, as they make some pretty large expansions over here around Algeria, or maybe not, but like this. And Egypt has gone crazy, as they've expanding across the Nile rivers down south a lot, and going ahead and just going crazy at exploring or just colonizing the Nile River. As the Nile River expansions, we'll be looking something like this. And expansions don't stop at just the Nile. They stop when they finally reach all the way down here in Djibouti, which is interesting, I can say. Yeah, this is a pretty large empire. But Egypt is not just going to expand south, as they've also been expanding over here, over into this little desert, in the desert of the Sahara. So the Sahara Desert. Yeah. And the Egyptians are giant, I can say. Yeah. But also, the Somalians will be expanding alongside these Egyptians as they make a pretty large border here, what looks something like this, and will be having a huge emphasis down south as they work towards exploring all this territory, claiming all this territory, as their empire is gonna look something like this for now. Yeah. Let's go back to Texas now, as we are going to be seeing the Texans go ahead and go crazy as they go along this river, which is what could this be? I don't know. I believe it's, correct me if I'm wrong, but okay. Be able to go and just fully explore up here north, and eventually we'll be able to go in this territory of Louisiana, and they discover that it's easier to habitate that area than over here in Texas. Yeah. Eventually these Texans will be going ahead and continuing to explore as their explorations will go crazy along these rivers, which is the Rio Grande. Yeah. I'm pretty sure the Colorado. Is it? Yeah. Two finding of rivers and the rivers that are close by. Eventually both Californians and Texans will be discovering each other. And then over here, if we go down south, we'll spread that Texas exists. Yeah. So well, yeah, Mexico doesn't like Texas. So yeah. And well, let's just continue mass exploration. And the Americans, will also be continuing their exploration down south, and so will the Texans along the same river, actually, which is the Mississippi Bay thing. Yeah. And we'll be able to eventually discover each other. And eventually, due to this, they will be going ahead and working to, go crazy in discovering more and more of the Americas, which be able to discover the entirety of this little floor of the entire southern United States here. Yeah. And a lot of the United States have been explored. Here's an interesting voxel map. Yeah. But now, I think it would be time to see some expansions of all these nations. The first expansions are going to start with the Yucatan country, as they are going to go ahead and make the expansions look something like this, as they expand along this little Yucatan area, and even will be making more established relations with Mexico, as they sort of will look like this. And Mexico is going to go a bit crazy with the expansions. Not down south though. The down south is left for Yucatan. And Yucatan expansions, I'll just make this border look a tiny bit better. Yeah, that looks better. And Mexico up north. Okay, let's look at Mexico up north. I think Mexicans are going to go crazy expanding up north, eventually expanding into this little river here. And they are angry about Texas's existence, so they are going to go as far north as possible in order to reach the border of the new Texas Nation Republic thingy-majingy. Yeah. And the borders of Purple Mexico are eventually going to look something like this. And well, they're pretty large. But going down to, or up to California, we're going to be seeing the Californians go ahead, or Southern Californians, go ahead and expand a lot more, as they go ahead and expand along, a lot of this little, panhandle thingy-majingy here, as their borders will look something like this. Yeah. And Texas is no, failure to expand themselves, so they are going to go ahead and have huge focuses on trying to go around these rivers, and maybe they're just going to try to use their rivers as their border. So their border is going to mainly follow the river. And while it's going to go very successfully for them, let's go ahead and fully border the Rio Grande and be able to make mass defenses on the Rio Grande. Let's go ahead and explore a lot more. But there is something to note. This little territory here that is the other part of the Rio Grande that they want, the Texans want, is maybe kind of disputed. So the Texans want it, but they can't get it. That's a thing. Yeah, I don't know why that dot is there. It's the glitch with the painter. And well, eventually these Texans will be going crazy, maybe expanding around this river when it comes to it. But they will be following this river though when it comes to exploring or expanding. This river, or just the rivers in general, are sort of mark lines for the Texans. And the Texans are going to go crazy into Louisiana as well. And territorial expansions over in Louisiana, if I can follow the river correctly, will look something like this. Yeah, just not including some of this little riverland. Why is there a glitch? I don't know. Texans expansion, after this tiny little expansionist thingy over here, that they haven't expanded across this river, will be looking something like this. Yeah. This is what the Texans look like right now. And going to America, we are going to be seeing the Americans continue to start to go crazy, and exploring into a lot of modern Canadian territory, specifically Ontario and Michigan, or just the Great Lakes in general, as they go ahead and fully explore around the whole Great Lakes. Going here to, the English area, no, not English, the Americans, they're going ahead and going crazy at their expansions. This is roughly what the territorial expansions of America are going to look like. And America has expanded a lot. But also, let's go back to all of these little colony things here, as we are going to be seeing this little thing go ahead and explore a lot more, specifically around the Columbian area, as they go ahead and fully expand a lot more, and their territorial explorations, not expansions, will be going up here, as they discover the Mexicans and the Yucatanians. They know they exist now, and it looks like America, or North America specifically, is getting a lot more connected. Yeah. Down to Uruguay, we are going to be seeing the Uruguayans go ahead and explore a lot more along the river area, and while they will be doing a lot, as they just mainly expand for now. Who knows if they'll form a nation soon? Most likely will. Yeah. Going over to Australia, we are going to be seeing mass exploration by many Australians as they go ahead and do a lot of explorations over here, and explorations will be crazy. Total explorations will be looking something like this. Yeah. And this is what Australia looks like, and they even discovered Tasmania. Yeah. And eventually in New Zealand, we're going to be seeing the New Zealanders fully go ahead and explore all these, or expand into all these areas. Here, we are actually going to be seeing more expansion of China, or exploration of China over in the Philippines. Yeah. And the Chinese will be having some trouble. I think it's a lot of islands to navigate. Yeah. Let's go to the Scottish colonies of Quebec now. As the Quebecians will be going... The Scottish will be going ahead and continuing their explorations as they go ahead and reach this little coastline here and fully explore this area. And eventually, over time, they will go crazy exploring the entirety of Quebec. Only a majority of Quebec, as the Scottish will eventually go ahead and discover the Americans' existence, and hopefully, this is the first interaction between any country in the Americas and Europe. And that's interesting. Let's go to Alaska now. As we're going to be seeing the little Alaskan settlement thing appear, go ahead and finally explore, and we're going to be going away from there. Yeah. And well, we ended this video. We're going to be seeing South Africa, Southern Africa, not Southern America. Go ahead and explore a lot more. Yeah. And explorations are going to go crazy as they look like this now when it comes to exploration. And kind of similar in Nigeria as they expand a lot more. But then a few new nations will be forming in a lot of these unclaimed territories around the world. So the new nations around the world. Firstly, we have a Floridian nation here, a red one here. We have a blue Mexican nation that formed here. A blue purplish nation in Venezuela. We have that Uruguayan nation formed down here. We had a nation formed in South Africa here. A Ugandan nation here. And also we had two new nations over here. This blue Australian nation and this yellow Australian nation. And well, that is all the new nations in the world. And one more final event of this video. We're going to Scotland as we are going to be seeing South Scotland and North Scotland form the Circle Alliance. And that's going to do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed today's scenario where civilization started over. See you in the next episode where we will look at another scenario and we're going to see a lot more things happen around the world. I know this is the only episode in the series that hasn't had a single war. Not one war this whole episode. Anyway, see you in the next episode and bye!